I want to thank all of you for coming today. This is a tremendous outpouring of love and appreciation. We don't have a very formal program today. Today is really about kind of sharing our memories and supporting one another, but I do want to read a few comments, and a couple of people are going to be speaking here, and then after that we're going to be opening up the microphone. This afternoon is about celebrating the life and memory of our beloved Doc Ock. It seems hard to believe that only a little more than a week has passed since we lost Doc. Although he is not physically here with us anymore, I suggest to you that he is very much present in each of our hearts and each and every day. Advisor, teacher, mentor, and friend, Doc Ock will forever remain a part of Case Western Reserve and all those that he touched. Today is a day to share fond memories, support one another, and rejoice in the knowledge that Doc is at peace. Shortly we will hear from a pianist who studied with the same piano teacher as Doc did in Puerto Rico. I encourage you to enjoy the music, the food, and the fellowship. Computers have been set up for you to view and comment on Doc's blog, and the microphone is available to any and all who wish to share their reflections of Doc. I would like to thank you again for coming today, and if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you share any ideas you have for the fall memorial service, which will happen sometime in September, and for how the university can go about honoring Doc Ock's legacy. And right now I'm going to be turning it over to Adam Cash, who's a third-year medical student and who's a very close friend of Doc's, who traveled with me to Puerto Rico last week, and who's going to be reading a couple of prayers from the prayer card and also from a statement that was read at the funeral. Adam.
Well, thank you all for coming. The translation reads, "A tear evaporates, a flower on my tombstone wilts, but a prayer for my soul is gathered by God. Don't cry, my beloved. I am united with God, and I wait for you in heaven. I die, but my love does not die. I will love you in heaven, as I have loved you all on earth. To those of you who have loved me, I ask that you pray for me. This is the greatest proof of love." The next was written by Doc's cousin, Rosarito. "Ignacio, for those who love you, it is not easy to accept you have left. We will miss your love, your enthusiasm, your spark. Your professional life filled you with happiness, and we shared your successes with pride. You were always an exemplary son and grandson, brother and uncle. The love you gave will help us overcome your absence." And Sarito cries, but knows you are now playing the piano with the celestial choirs. Your friends and colleagues will remember you with love because you were always a friend to your friends. And finally, the land where you were born extends its arms to welcome your remains. Rest in peace, dear Ignacio. We will always miss you. Now I would like to continue the program by introducing Dean Robinson.
I'd also like to welcome everyone. It's hard to think of Ignacio Ocasio without thinking of music, and I had the great pleasure of being accompanied by him in many of our faculty staff talent shows. He was a consummate musician, a fabulous pianist, and we are privileged today to have with us Gerardo Tessanier, who is a member of the faculty of the Cleveland Institute of Music. He is from Puerto Rico, and he and Ignacio had the same first piano teacher. And I want to invite him to come forward and share a few of his memories, and then he is going to sit down at our piano here, and hopefully the acoustics will let us really hear a wonderful pianist playing Chopin's Nocturne in C-sharp minor, opus posthumous. So, Mr. Tessanier.
I am sure that by now you know what a brilliant chemistry teacher Nachito was, and I'm going to refer to him as Nachito because that's how I knew him. What you don't know is that he was equally brilliant musician. so brilliant that our first teacher that we shared in Puerto Rico before I came to the United States would never stop talking about his last performance, which was with the Puerto Rico Symphony and the Brahms Second Piano Concerto. So I am very honored and grateful to Dean Robinson and the Faculty and Administration of Case Western Reserve University to invite me to share in your feeling of loss and your feeling of gratitude to Nachito for his tremendous dedication in the field of teaching. I think that the best example and the best way that we can continue his legacy is to work with the same dedication, love, and passion that he imparted in his work. And I understand that the piece that I'm going to perform for you now was one of his favorites. And so I proceed.
Hi, my name is Carol McKay, and the reason I'm here is to let you know that there was a life that Doc had outside of the university. Doc was my friend and my neighbor, and he lived in 212. Stephanie McHenry, who's president of Shore Bank, was in 214, and I was in 215. We partied. I have a deck, and the sun went down on my deck before anybody else's. So as soon as the sun was down, we started partying on my deck. Doc Ock would bring his diet beverage, Stephanie would bring her beer, and I'd drink whatever was in my refrigerator at the time. We had fun, we really did. And then, when the sun was really going down, we would go out to the middle of the grassy area, usually holding hands or holding one another, and watch a glorious Cleveland sunset. Yes, there is such a thing. We were good friends, we were good neighbors, we shared life experiences, we talked to each other. We were warm friends, the three of us, we were a trio. But we did other things together other than just watching pretty sunsets. We also went to community concerts, we went up to the farmer's market at Shaker Square, and we did other things together, sharing other things and other memories. I got Doc Ock to walk every morning. In good weather, we would walk outside, sometimes over to Shaker Lake, sometimes to other places. When it wasn't good weather, and I was afraid one of us would break our leg on the ice, we'd walk inside the building. If you know our building, we'd do circles and circuits, and then up and down the stairways. I forgot exactly what kind of exercise that's called, aerobic or something. And I finally got him to do it. However, there were days, weekdays, when he wasn't willing to do it, and I'd always suggest, well, why don't we make up that day on the weekend? And he'd turn to me and say, "What have you been smoking?" Judging by your laughter, you remember the good times too. Doc Ock was my neighbor. He is still my dear, dear friend. Thank you.
It comes from a novel by Miguel Cervantes. It's called Don Quixote de la Mancha. And the quote goes something like this: "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres." Now, normally in the Spanish culture, it's used with a negative connotation. Translated literally to English, it means tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. In the Spanish culture, like I said, it's a negative connotation. Sometimes you want to stay away from the bad kids or you might become one of them. But I think Doc had a special take on that. It didn't matter if you were one of the bad kids or one of the good kids. He just kind of set you on the right path. And I think when we look at each other, I know we all have memories to share, but I think it's something incredible and something that should be said for all of us here today, that if you tell me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. You look at all these faces, and everyone in this room right now, and you can tell that he's up there shining down on all of us, because it's a horrible reason for us to be together, but at the same time, we're all together right now. So, thanks for coming.
Doc and I have become really close friends. Even last New Year's, we were both down in Puerto Rico together. So I got to see him on New Year's Eve. That was really cool. Actually, I was with my aunt, and she's like, "You want to go hang out with a professor right now? You're on school break. I don't know." But I just want to come up and say that I know I'm speaking for all the students here when I say that Doc will truly be missed. He's probably one of the most loved professors on this university. It's truly a loss, but at the same time, I think we all have gained from him. And just as said earlier, we are his legacy. We are the ones who will be able to continue to tell stories about what a great professor he is, to inspire others to become professors like he was, and to help students like he did. Thank you.
In the 80s of the chemistry department, and I'm the one who put Doc Ock into the freshman class. I remember the time. At the time, Professor Ritchie was teaching freshman chemistry, and he told me he's tired, he doesn't want to do it anymore. Ocasio was, at the time, teaching some ancillary duties, and I said, "Do you think you could handle this?" And he said, "Oh, sure, I will try." And so I said, "All right, let's try." And I asked Dr. Ritchie, "You know what, you should be a backup. Why don't you go to his class and make sure that he's not falling through and not able to handle it?" After 2 weeks, Ritchie came back and said, "Don't worry about him, he's better than I am." Now, I was also the one who fired Doc Ock. After 4 years, there was a tenure reunion, and the faculty decided that, you know, he's not doing any research, and how can we have a professor who doesn't do any research? And so I called him in, and we are bound by the rules of the academic world, and I told him, I'm sorry, but you'll have to find another job. The next day, there were 20 students in my office complaining about it, and I explained to them the problem that we are bound by the rules and so on. But then I went to see the dean, and I said, you know, this guy is really doing a great job. We should try to find some kind of way. And so we did find it. It was Don Shealy, I believe, who was dean at the time. And we did find a way by which we could overrule the rules and actually appoint him as a professor and give him the appropriate tenure possibilities. And that's history, and he has been teaching chemistry ever since. Now, when I look around me today, and although I'm very sad about what had happened, I think that may have been the best thing I did as a chairman, is to appoint Doc Ock to this freshman chemistry. And I'm sorry for the future generations that they will not enjoy a person like him, although we hope to find somebody good as well. Thank you.
I was a student of Doc's only for 1 year, but to be honest, 1 year is all you need with him, not even. I was a student in 105, 106, and even hired to be his SI, and for some reason I got incredibly close to Doc and like to think he was like the father I never had, and I like to think I was like a daughter to him, and I just know that Doc Ock was like a father to all of us, and we were all his kids, and he loved us, and I just hope he always knows that we love him and always will, and he'll be greatly missed.
One of the big things that our sorority does is we do Mr. Crew, and for the longest time, Doc Ock was one of our celebrity judges. And if you just think about it as a student, there's no one else that embodies CASE. I mean, he was always there for us, supporting everything that we did extracurricularly, academically. He was always around. I mean, if you think about CASE, so many memories included him. So he was the ultimate Mr. Crew, and that's all I wanted to say.
Like all of you, Doc was a member of our family. And I know that the one thing that Doc would say is, eat, go, eat. We're all gonna miss him very much.